One of the more interesting things that I heard when I was studying in the seminary was something that a philosophy professor one day said in class. It's a statement that he made, and this was the statement. He said that the human being, the human person, is a question. The human being, the human person, is a question. Now, let me explain what he was trying to explain. He mentioned that questions, of course, are open-ended. Questions seek information, right? They seek life outside of themselves. And so do human beings. Human beings are, by nature, relational. We are designed not to live on an island. We are created not to be self-enclosed. We are created to share life with one another. And he mentioned that to the degree that we go outside of ourselves to bring life to others is to the degree that we become fully human. Anything less than that, right, distorts our humanity, compromises our humanity. It makes us deformed in some way, arrested in some way. And if you notice, notice the people in your life. Notice the people in your life that ask a lot of questions, but that ask them genuinely because they care about you. People who will say, how are you doing? How is your family? How's work coming along? They show genuine concern for where you are at. And these people are the people that win over our hearts. These are the people that we are most at home with. They are question people, not necessarily gossips. They're not digging for information. They're, looking to give life, right? And then we also know, we know plenty of these, right? People that are not question people. They are statement people. They're not so interested in our well-being or where we're at. They're interested in imposing where they're at all the time. Statement, period. Usually the statements are about themselves. And these are probably the most insufferable people that we know and the people that we tend to avoid because there is no life there. It gets old, it gets stale. It's so trivial, right? Now, these people that are so open, so genuinely interested in life beyond themselves, we usually say about them, wow, what a great guy, what a great gal. And we say that they're very down to earth. They are so down to earth. Now, of course, the reason I'm mentioning all this is because today, as we celebrate this great solemnity that brings our liturgical year to a close, the solemnity of Christ the King, we are reminded that nobody embodies these qualities better than Jesus Christ, our King. Nobody was more open than him. Nobody was more interested in going outside of himself than him. Nobody was ever more down to earth than him, because that's exactly what he did. He came down to earth not for any benefit of his, but for our benefit, so that we could have life, have it in abundance, discover it ever new. And he establishes this kingdom, right, which is not a kingdom of might. It's not a kingdom of power. It's not a kingdom of resources. It's a kingdom of life. This life that flows around us, this life that we are called to give, this life that we are called to also receive. And he models for us better than anyone what the reality of his kingdom is like as he lives out, right, his public ministry, and ultimately, right, as he dies on the cross for us and shows us the rewards of the kingdom by rising from the dead and ascending into heaven. That is what awaits us. Eternal life, a kingdom that will have no end. Now, I think by now, having been here a little over 4 years, I think that you can clearly see that while Monsignor and I are different people, right? We do share some things in common, mostly the ability to want to joke around with people. We both enjoy doing that, and we do that with one another. We love pushing our respective buttons. Now, I'll tell you this, share with you an interesting anecdote about a year ago when we started the south wing renovation at our school. Something that, he had wanted to do for a long time. He couldn't get to everything, of course. So once we started that project, and he was coming on site almost every day, and he was telling the workers, I built this thing. And then he would start pointing to other places. And I built that, and I built this. And he would even tell me, I built this thing, and I built that. And of course, I would humor him. I'd go along. One day, I decided to, just push his buttons. And he was telling me about, I built this and I built that. I said, hey, you built all these things. I said, so what? What do you mean? And I said, yeah. I said, look, a lot of people build a lot of things. I said to him, of course, I don't necessarily believe that. I said to him, listen, I'm not that impressed by all that stuff. I told him, I said, building all these things, that's not the best thing you did around here. He said to me, well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, I mean something different. He said, well, what's the best thing you think I did around here? And I told him, I said, I'll tell you the best thing you did around here is you built up the lives of the people. You cared for them, you were always there for them, and they know it, and they appreciate it. Now that, not everyone can do. A lot of people put up structures here, there, and everywhere, but not everyone gives themselves to the people like that. Then he kind of paused, and he said to me, well, thank you for saying that. And I don't know if that really meant thank you or something I can't say in church, of course. But that's really what it's all about. That's what our lives are meant to be about. Building up the lives of the people around us. May this celebration of Jesus Christ, our King, and this kingdom that is a tremendous gift to us, may it help us to all the more do what the Lord did. May it help us to become all the more people of questions rather than people of statements. May it help us to all the more give of ourselves. May it help us to be all the more down to earth. May it help us to be all the more human. So we won't inherit in the long run just a bunch of passing nonsense, but we may inherit the life of an eternal kingdom. My dear friends, let us now stand and